On Diet Mountain Dew. And I had a good time tonight. Just like relaxed. I went to this nice Christmas party. And they're hanging out with my brother and some friends. We got to play some poker. Meet some really cool people up there. They were drinking. I didn't really have a drink. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had a Diet Coke with lemon. I was just too busy playing the poker games. You know, and it's fraternizing with some people up there, and sat up there for about maybe 2 or 3 hours, and decided to do a video today. I don't even know if I'm gonna get views from this shit. Maybe unlucky, maybe a couple hundred. I tell you what, man. The older you get, one thing you got to understand. One second. One thing you got to understand is that, your mental health and your stress is everything, you know. Because life doesn't get any easier, you know. That's for damn sure. Sorry, this song's jamming right now. Oh, I feel good. I've been off for 3 days, man. Well, one of the days I was sick, and my 2 off days. So then I go to work tomorrow. It's like the next 4 days I gotta work nothing but 12s. Oh, Marvin, what's up, man? I had a good time hanging out with you too, bro. Good seeing you, man. I'm glad you came and hung out. I'm listening to Morgan Wallen, bro. You know, some soft music to get the whole mode set. Burning going down, burning going down. It's in you. Goodbye, taillights. This is a good song. This came out about 6 years ago. No, 5 years ago. My math is off. 2019, so that's 5 years ago. The song came out in 2019. It's a damn good song. You want to listen to soothing music that's going to soothe the soul, baby. You listen to music that soothes the soul. You want the mode and the setting to be just right. So you have to pick the type of music that's going to stimulate the mind. Stimulate the mind. A lot of people don't think about that. They don't. When you listen to music, sometimes it kind of alters your mind, your perception on things. Oh, yeah. It does do that. Give me 1 second. Like I said, this is relaxing music right here. Anyways, you are what you eat. That's the old saying. That is true. You are what you eat. Birds of a feather flock together means you're friends. And the people you're around and surround yourself with are a reflection of who you are. In certain ways. Maybe not like entirely, but for the most part. Like you are what you eat. Birds of a feather flock together. Your friends are a reflection of who you are. I never really thought about that because a lot of people like to separate themselves and say, well, I'm not like them. Those are my friends and stuff. But in reality, like for you to be friends, there's a little commonality there. Like there is the opposite attract, but most of the time there's a commonality or something that like kind of links you together. If that makes sense. Doing fine, Daniel. I'm doing fine, brother. I'm feeling good tonight. Oh, you're in Vegas? What? You gambling? What casino are you at? You in Vegas? Let me know if you win something, bro. I'm definitely gonna give you a shout out if you do. Oh, you lost $40. That sucks. The thing about gambling is you'll be up like 300 or 400 or 500, and you get addicted, and then you keep playing. You don't stop because you're like, I'm gonna double it, and that's how the fucking machine gets you. At least that shit did that to me when I was in the when I was in Choctaw over there in Oklahoma. Fucking was up a couple $100 and then just kept playing and lost it all. Man, I was pissed. I just couldn't stop myself from playing, man. Them slot machines get you every time. But anyways, man, let's go ahead and get to the point of this video real quick, man. So this is a response video. Really, just somebody requested. It was a homegirl of mine. We were chatting while I was at the bar. She said, "Man, you like you're having fun?" I said, "Yeah, we're just over here just playing poker and shooting the shit and just hanging out with the boys and stuff like that." And she said, "Well, shit. Well, whenever you come see me, come party with me." I'm like, "Well, if you got a guest room, let me know." Because, like I said, the hotels overseas. I mean, well, it's not really overseas, but the hotels over up north is gonna be a little expensive. So yeah, you gotta have a little guest room for your boy. I'll go up there. I'm just kidding. But no, we had a talk, and you know, she was just saying like, you look, you're having fun. You just look like you have no worry in the world. I'm like, no, I mean, I get stressed like anybody else does. I have my days. Trust me, I'm not perfect. Like I get stressed just like anybody else does. Paying bills and making money and working and shit like that, and having to deal with different types of personalities of people. Sometimes it can be stressful. Oh, absolutely. Dealing with the public is, you know, having to deal with people on YouTube. Another thing. Family. Another thing. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. You never escape drama or stress, no matter how much you want to. You just have to sort of like navigate through it. That's what life is. It's just part of navigation. You just navigate through life. It's just what life is. Life is just one giant pit stop, Marvin says. Absolutely. Like I said, people come and go in and out of your life. Sometimes there's not really an explanation as to why things happen. Sometimes we try to search for the answers when maybe clearly there isn't one. You know, sometimes things in life just happen. You know, we try to give a logical explanation about why this happened or why this happened, but I believe things happen for a reason, and even if it may not be a reason, things just happen anyway. It's just life. Sort of like I had a buddy of mine the other day. He said, "I fucking hate this goddamn job, and I fucking hate the people I work with, and I fucking hate them. They're gossiper pieces of shit." And he started getting mad and angry and stuff. And I was just like, "Yeah, you're right. Like, I'm not gonna deny it. He actually is correct." But I told him, "You have to understand something. That if you can leave and go to another job, that's great, but you're still gonna have to deal with the new set of people, new set of problems. People gossiping shit. They're never gonna escape it. Even if you want to do self employment, run your own business, you sooner or later you have to run into customers or contractors, insurance adjusters. You're gonna have to have some sort of human interaction, like from the business side of it, and you're still never gonna escape it. Like you're always just gonna run into it. I mean, unless you're on the internet and you're only just dealing with people in the comments, but even then you're still gonna have to deal with it. Like you're never truly gonna escape it unless you just win the lottery and you live off the grid. I mean, you can do that. One second. Damn, sorry, that allergy bug's been going around because it's been cold lately. So, anyways, where was I at? Make sure I'm not on mute because I don't want to just talk in the camera for no reason. Um. So, anyways, I was talking to my homegirl and she was like telling me, what are some things, what are some like bad qualities about people that, rub you the wrong way? And I'm like, well, first of all, no human is perfect. Like, hell, I'm not even perfect. So I don't want to like, pass too much judgment, because like I've been guilty of some things, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm perfect, but, I guess some things that maybe are some like red line indicators, like some bad qualities about people in general. I would like to say that, uh, you know, kind of steer me in the wrong direction, or more like steer me in the direction of not wanting to associate or be around them. Um, to me, I had to actually go and brainstorm and write this shit down. So, like, I didn't just want to make this video and just go off the head. I probably could go off the head with some of it, but not all of it. So I said, why not just do it like I used to, take notes and shit. So I just said, I'm gonna do that shit. So, anyways, I got 10 bad qualities in a person. Um, let's see. I came up with 10 things. All right. Now, some of them are obvious and some of them are kind of like, all right, well, I can kind of see your point, you know? So let's just go ahead and go with number one. Um, I get it. Everybody has a bad day. You know what I'm saying? We all have bad days, or a bad week, or a bad month, or a bad year. Like everybody has those times in life where you go through situations where something something might have tragic might have happened in your life, or something you know something might have taken place that might have would have like geared you in that direction. But like it's okay to like have a bad day, but like when it's like all the fucking time, you know um when you have a bad attitude all the time, it's kind of like one of those things where it's I run a every now and then I'll run into someone like that. It's like I have somebody at my job that's like that. You know what I'm saying? He always has a bad attitude. And no matter how nice I am to him, he's still like, I figure okay, I try to put positive energy in there, try to like beef him up to be a little bit more socializing, or to not be so negative, or not be have such a bad attitude, but it just still doesn't phase him. And and sometimes you can try, but it's not always going to work. And so I just said, well, I'm not going to try to change him. I just wanted to show him that there's no reason for it. So I just said, you know what, I'm gonna keep it moving and just go about my business. you know you can only try for a little bit, and after that you say, you know what, I'll let him do his thing. That's just him being him, and I'm gonna just go do me. I'm not gonna let it affect my way of life or work. But when you have a bad attitude all the time, it's not good. You know what I'm saying? Because even if you have a right to complain about something, or you have a right to have a bad attitude, you do that shit all the time, bro. It's it has a negative connotation, and that spirals out of effect, and then it spreads around the room, and then everybody kind of feels that dark cloud. So people are gonna be like, okay, well, all this dude does is complain all the time, so I'm gonna try my best not to fuck with him, or not hang out with him, or call him, or whatever, you know. And so when you have a bad attitude all the time, it does reflect, a negative outcome, because it's like you put into this world what you get back. I used to never believe that. One second, excuse me. I used to never believe that, but it's true. Like you put into this world, you get back what you put into this world. I think that's how the saying goes, but it's the truth. When you have a rotten attitude all the time, it's gonna come back to you. You understand? Because either you're going to run into somebody that's the same way, or people are just not going to fuck with you. They're going to try to avoid you. And that's just the reality of it. Uh, anyways, that's self explanatory. Now we go to number two. Number two, negative energy. It's another one. It's, and that kind of aligns with the bad attitude because it's like you channel this negative energy, and then eventually people see it, they feel it, and they're like, okay, this dude got a bad attitude. Plus, you got this negative energy flowing. It's like, man, I don't want to fuck with you. Like, I may not have beef with you, but I don't want to fuck with you like that. So, like, you have this like negative energy, and people kind of feel that. You always look angry all the time. You always look bothered or annoyed, shit like that. That rubs people off the wrong way, and people are like, man, I don't want to be around that clown. So they're gonna try to avoid you at all costs. And that will happen. We'll experience that. You know, there's a big difference when you go around smiling, greeting people, versus when you're going around with a negative attitude all the time. There's a big difference. You know. All right, so let's go to number three. Um, again, I have my days where I have no energy, or I have my days where I just don't want to do anything. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I don't, but if you're just the type of person that somebody has to push all the fucking time, and you have no motivation, which is number three, you have no motivation at all. Eventually, it's not a good recipe for success. And so if you have no motivation to want to do anything, then that's also not good, because then you become a liability on somebody else's watch. And so I'm not saying you got to be the richest person in the world. I'm not saying that you have to walk around boatloads of cash. But the thing is like, when you just not motivated to do anything, it can get frustrating. And I've seen this in people before, where they just, it's one thing if you have like a month or so in you where you just like, I don't give a fuck, and you just kind of threw in the towel or something, and you just have like those moments. But when you just have no motivation at all, it's just it can be irritating. I'll give you an example. I had a buddy of mine, I'm not going to say his name, but he lost his job, or he's been looking for work. And he says he's been looking for work a lot, but I don't believe he has been looking for the amount of jobs he's been saying he has. Well, anyways, he's gone like 3 years without working. And he lives, in an affordable area, and the rent's affordable. It's like $600 a month. I know, right? And he's like, oh, I've been looking for jobs this whole time, and they've been giving me all these interviews. And I'm not saying he hadn't gone to them, but I don't think he's gone as much as he says he has. And he's like, well, my sister don't want to help me out or anything like that. He's giving me his side of the story, but I never talked to his sister to see what she had to say about him. So I said, okay, so do you have any food in the house? He said, well, I got a small bag of sausages, and I got half a can of soup. And I said, what about your dog? He's like, well, my dog got half a bag of food. And I said to myself, man, you ain't hardly got nothing to eat, bro. He's like, nah, I don't. I'm like, all right, so how about this, man? We're supposed to hang out. And I told you I was going to take you to Buffalo Wild Wings. Why don't we just skip that, and I just run you to Walmart? I'll go buy you some groceries, put it in your house. And, and I'll get you some dog food for your dog. So I don't want to see you starve. I don't want to see that dog starving, because I'm an animal lover personally. So it kind of like tore my heart up. So I was like, I'll take you to Walmart and buy you some groceries and stuff. And he's like, yeah, I got this new job, I'm barely starting the next day. And I'm like, okay. And so, I bought him the groceries, helped him put it in the house, bought him 3 cases of water. I bought him 2 loaves of bread, some sandwich meats, mustard, mayo, I bought him some bags of chips, some cereal. I bought him some juice, all types of shit. Basically, I put some food in his fridge that's gonna last at least 3 weeks. And so I told him, I said, look, man, if the groceries get a little low in a couple weeks, just let me know, and I'll re up on some groceries, for you. So I don't want to see the dude starving. And when you get your first check, you can go from there. And he's like, okay. And then so, you know, he basically was like, oh well, he's like, it's gonna take 3 weeks to get my first check. And I was like, he's like, I gotta go tell the people about my rent and stuff, and see if they could like put an extension on it. I said okay. And then when he talked to them, they're like, no, we want our rent on the 21st this month. I said, well, you're not getting your check till the 30th, so they're gonna have to wait, right? And then so he's like, and I told him, hey man, you know, mind you, when I'm talking to this guy, he's not being really reciprocating towards anything I'm saying. He's not looking at me. He's not saying much, and I don't know if he's got ADHD or whatever the fuck, but he's not paying attention to anything I'm saying. And you would assume that if you're in a position like that, you're going to be listening to what I'm saying. And then I'm helping you, buying you groceries to put in your house, that it would motivate you to listen to what the fuck I'm saying. And he just shows no motivation. And that $200 grocery tab that I racked up didn't motivate him. And so I told him, well, why don't you go do Uber, since you were already doing Uber Eats, and save a little bit of money. And that way, before you get your check, you can put some money in stockpile that, and you can use that money to pay that rent until you get that first check, kind of catch up. And he's like, he looked at me and he said, I guess I'll do Uber. And I'm like, motherfucker, you're out of work. You don't have a job. Or you do have a job, you're starting, it's going to take you 3 weeks. And they're saying they want their money for rent. And I'm trying to motivate you, and you show no motivation. I'm like, I'm not even in your situation, and I'm trying to motivate you. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to motivate you so that you can go and say, you know what, Steve, I appreciate the help, a little help and stuff. And he just said, well, I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent. I'm like, well, I'm not paying the motherfucker because, it's not my responsibility. I said, and secondly, you're not showing any motivation, and then you want to give me an attitude when I told you to do Uber again. I told you to go back and do Uber until you get your first check and then make some guaranteed money and stockpile it, and you can get the $500 probably in like a week's worth of Ubering, and just say, here's my rent. But he wants to say, well, I guess I'll do it again, sort of like almost how like an attitude almost. And so it's just when you show no motivation, it kind of pisses me off, because when I got fired from Walmart, mind you, I had no income coming in. I had $3,500 worth of, vacation time and PPTO time. I didn't hesitate. I woke up the next day, started applying for jobs. I had one interview, and I fucked up on a question, and they hung up the phone. That was Buc-ee's. And then I got a job in security. And that's when I had my first ever security job. So I was like grateful that I had a security job. They were fucking me. But I was grateful to have a job in security. And I did that for a year. And so like the whole point was the 7 days I was out of work, I was busting my ass trying to look for a job. And the second job I applied for hired me on. So it was like I was motivated. I was showing motivation and driving myself to get another job quickly. And this guy here has been, in my opinion, for 3 fucking years, not showing any motivation, dicking around, not looking for another work, and blew through an inheritance money that he received. And I was like, you should have used that time. In fact, what I would have done was I would have paid a whole year of rent off, and then look for a fucking job. And that way, at least a year of your rent's paid off at $500 a month. That's not a bad deal. It's kind of hard to find that kind of places that pay that kind of rent. And you would think that he'd, if you got that big inheritance check, you should have paid off at least probably 2 years of rent. And he tells me I wasn't thinking about that at the time. I was like, well, you should have thought about it, motherfucker. You had a $75,000 check. You could have probably at $500 a month. I mean, let's just do the math. Multiply it times 12. The $6,000. Could have said here's $6,000 to the 75. Pay off my rent for a year. Get them off your back so at least you have a place to stay. And pay it a year. It's like, it's like he's not thinking, and then cops an attitude with me when I question him. It's like, dude, I'm trying to fucking help your dumbass. But, sometimes you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink the water. So, no motivation. That's definitely was his issue. And then had an attitude about it when I tried to question him. And it's like, and I told him, I'm not your dad. I'm just saying, why weren't you thinking about all this? Like, you knew you were running out of money. The last 6 months, you should have been told the people you're renting with that, hey, I'm running out of money. My inheritance is running out. And I haven't been working in X amount of time. Is there any way we could work something out just in case if I don't find something in these last 6 months? Anything. This dude waits till like damn near about 8 days till the rent's due. The dude's just insane. It's insane. So, number 4, which we're going to get into, which is something he wouldn't do. He wouldn't look me in the eye, no eye contact. He's steadily watching TV, looking at his phone, not listening to what I'm saying, and no eye contact. The most disrespectful thing I think anybody can do is not look you in the eyes when having a conversation. It's okay to look away every now and then, look up, look down, look to the left, look to the right, But it's like when I'm talking to you, I expect you to look at me in the eyes, just like if you were to ask for a response, I would look you right in your eyes. That's real respect. I think you don't look somebody in the eyes, that's disrespectful. It is. It shows lack of respect, lack of common courtesy. All right. We've been to the first 4. Well, number 5. Yeah, we'll skip number 5. Well, I mean, this really kind of wears into like the deeper issues of what people have, is that makes them, um, that drives people away. Um, I like to be around people who are fun, people that I know I'm going to have a good time with you. Now, I'm not asking you to be all jittery and stuff when we hang out, but I would like to be around somebody that's going to be fun. And most importantly, number 5, not boring. The boring can be interpreted as many things, but, somebody who's not engaged in where we're going and what we're doing, you're very boring. It's not a good look. And I would say out of every person I've ever hanged out with, I might have only ran into that occurrence a couple of times. I wouldn't say it was too many, but I will say it has happened. It has happened, but it's not too common, but it does happen. Number 6, I'm not asking you to be egocentric or anything like that. In fact, I think that's one of the greatest problems we have in this country today is the fact that we have a bunch of people who are arrogant and a bunch of people in this country that are entitled. And that's why we have the problems that we have, the issues that we're having going on in this country. Western civilization. But it's another thing when you have no confidence at all in yourself. I'm not saying that you may not step into a situation that you're unsure of and you're a little nervous. You don't have enough experience in this area or this or this or that. That happens, but when you just have no confidence at all in yourself, it kind of like brings the mood down. It brings the mood down. Because you don't want somebody who's you always have to reassure. You know what I'm saying? You need somebody who's a little bit confident in themselves. I'm not saying you have to be egocentric, but just like a little bit of confidence. You know what I'm saying? You can sort of like you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm the great. I'm just like the shit, and I'm a fucking badass. And first person that says something to me, I'm gonna knock them out. Like, not like that, but just like just with the positivity and stuff, and you sound like you're fun to hang out with, and it's just like you kind of feel that vibe. So you kind of like feel there's a little confidence there because they're just enjoying themselves and having a good time. That's very important. Let's go to number 7. Let me read my terrible handwriting. You know, I get it. We don't always have to have everything in common. It's common sense. All your friends, even your significant other, you're not always going to have things in common with. I get it. That's what makes humans unique is the fact that we're not all the same. You all have differences and different cultures, different lifestyles, different this, different that. But, you know, if you're not willing to change certain things about you that would be appealing, somewhat appealing to the person either you're with or that you're hanging out with, or make slight compromises, let's just put it like this, without necessarily changing your identity, then eventually it's going to be like, okay, well, you're not willing to compromise in anything. You just kind of want everything done your way. You don't really want to like compromise in anything to make anything work. So what's the point in continuing this going forward? Sounds kind of confusing, but it kind of makes sense. You know? Is there an example that I can use? Let me give an example. Let's see. What's an example I can use? I'll just give an example. Let's say that I like sports and you like, let's just say you like, I don't know, let's just say I like going to NBA games, but you like going to MMA fights. I'm not really an MMA guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't really. I could care less about the damn sport of MMA or boxing. Right? It's not really my thing. Right? But let's just say you're like, we both like sports. We just may not like the same sports. Right? So I might invite you out to a basketball game. Not really your thing, but you'll go because you're like, it's the mode, it's the fun. And then you're like, okay, since I've been to a couple of your basketball games with you, why don't you go to MMA fight with me? Yeah, I know you're not really into that, but would you be willing to compromise? Because I, made it a point to go to a couple of the games with you. Would you be willing to compromise? And then you're like, no, I'm not. I'm adamant. I hate MMA. I told you that. It's like, okay, I understand that, but I don't like NBA, and I went to go to one a basketball game with you. See, that's where there's a kind of like a stigma there. Like you have like one person that's not willing to compromise anything. Sometimes that can kind of put like a wedge in between it, you know, wedge in between the situation. Number 8, this is just, people hang out with people that are like them. You get that. But I hang around with, like let's say I go to a bar, there's some people up there to drink. I can't control that, right? So that's understandable, but I can't be around people who do drugs. It's just nothing personal, but it's just not my forte. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not your dad, nothing like that. But I don't do drugs. And so I'm not going to sit there and hang out with people who do drugs. It's just nothing personal. If you want to do that on your own time, go do your own thing, and that's you. Just don't tell me about it. I don't know nothing. I don't want to know your business. Nothing like that. You go do it. That's your thing. Keep that between you and God. Whatever. There's no reason for you to tell me all that. But if you're personally like inviting me places that where drugs are going to be used and people are going to be doing drugs, I'm just not going to take myself out of that. That's something I'm not going to compromise with. Just not going to do it. So can't be around people who are doing drugs. Nothing personal. I get it. You know, addiction's hard to come off of. I get it that you might hang around with people who do it, so you kind of do it. Birds of feather flock together, and I respect that. You know, maybe if we went out for drinks or something, and I didn't know, and you didn't tell me, and you kind of just do that on your own time. That's fine. But if it involves me going out to places like that with you, probably not. You know. So just to make that perfectly clear. Let's see, number 9. I'm not saying that you have to be on time, but like when you're not prepared to go out, especially like when we make plans and say, hey, we're going out tonight at 7 o'clock, cool, and then your ass ain't ready. It's like every now and then, okay, that's fine, but when it's like all the time, yeah, that kind of is not good. You know what I'm saying? When you make a bad habit about not preparing yourself, eventually, people are going to see that as a timely thing. You made an agreement that you were going to meet this person at 8 o'clock at this restaurant, and then you keep doing that. Eventually, they're going to say that, you're not a timely person, you're not prepared, you're not making any arrangements, and you're not taking it seriously. So they're just going to start questioning you. You know what I'm saying? Natural human mentality to do. Every now and then that's cool, and you keep in communication and say, I'm not going to make it, I can't do this. That happens. You know what I'm saying? Um, and last but not least, which is number 10, okay, is you know, you want to be around somebody that is going to. Ooh, and that was a good burp too, because it let out that air bubble. I felt like a air bubble in here. You want to hang out with people who are going to inspire you to be better. That's like ultimately, right? It's like title of this video basically. And one of the things is that about me is I'm always thinking of new things to do. You know, places to go, events. I do itineraries. If I'm like, for example, I'll be in Arizona for 2 weeks next year on vacation. I'm already planning that for June, July, right? So I'm like, when I'm down there, I'm going to meet some friends from YouTube, like Cattle Dog, Danny Golden, Pistol and the 213, and maybe anybody else that stays out there. Um, go out there for 2 weeks. And I'm going to put a list of things together, things I want to do while I'm in Arizona. It's called an itinerary. So I want to be very creative and have sort of like an itinerary put together of events that I'm going to do, so that way I can keep my mind occupied and stay busy and know that I'm not waiting until the last minute to have fun. And so it's I'm not asking for anybody to have to do this all the time or do this, but I wouldn't mind it if you were creative every now and then and said, hey Steve, I got this idea I think it would be really cool, we could do, and like just throw it out there, even if you think it's a bad idea or I may not agree with it. Just just kind of like show me that you're willing to be creative about something, you know, and you show me it and say, hey, I think this would be a fun place to go to. We can do this, and I may agree with it, I may not, I don't know, but I mean, I would at least appreciate you making a little effort, rather than just sit back and Steve Rose has got to come with all the planning. I got to do all the preparations. I got to do all the time and all that. Well, you just kind of just sit back and it's all the fucking time. I mean, have you guys ever hung out with a friend who never suggested on going anywhere and you always had to be the one coming up with the plans? And so, again, it's I'm not saying they're bad people. It's just, you want somebody who is going to bring positive energy. He's going to make great eye contact. You're going to want to have somebody who has a little bit of confidence in themselves, not arrogance, anything like that, just a little bit of confidence, just creative, takes the time to make the preparations, doesn't do drugs preferably. Just keep it away. Just don't let me know if you do. Or, you know, they say that the don't ask, don't tell rule, you know? And then, is willing to make a compromise on certain things. Hey, I'll go to MMA with you while you go to a basketball game with me. Sort of ordeal, like a tit for tat. And, shows a little bit of motivation, great energy, and all those things because it's all very important on like future hangouts and stuff like that when you're hanging out with people and stuff. Hey, I like being around this person for X, Y, and Z. Because at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, are the people that I'm hanging around with inspiring me to be a better person? Because if it's not, then that's not good. If the people you're hanging around with are inspiring you to be a better person, that's great. Yeah. Now, does that mean every one of them has to do it? No. But the thing is that, if you're like proud of the friends you have, you're proud of the people you're hanging out with because they inspire you to be great and they enjoy being around with you and they let you know and you feel the energy, you feel the vibe, they want to be around you and you feel the same about them, then those are the type of people you want to keep around ultimately in your circle. Like you want to keep those type of people around. For some reason, and the crazy thing about it is, especially when it comes to, human interactions, like we always have this sort of like this challenge factor where we want to like fix and change people and try to get this person to hang out with us or get this person to date us or get this person to notice us. When the whole time there were probably people in your life that did want to be around you, and you probably never took time to take notice. You kind of like turned a blind eye to them. They weren't tall enough. They weren't cool enough. Maybe they weren't attractive. Maybe they were this. Maybe they were that. But the whole time they were loyal, like, and they were willing to be a loyal friend, and they were willing to be a loyal, extra, significant other. You just never took the time to notice them, and that does happen. Believe me, it does. Maybe you might have overlooked some people, in those categories, and they want. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you just simply just didn't want to be around them. I don't know, but whatever the reason was, maybe there were good reasons, some of them. But I'm not saying. But what I am saying is maybe there are some people you might have kind of overlooked, and they could have been a great friend or a great significant other. I'm not saying necessarily that you have to take them. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that sometimes we preoccupy ourselves on people that essentially are not going to make our lives any better. And they're going to be sucking time and energy away from us, fulfilling your own purpose, and your own meaning, and your own thoughts, and your own energy. And you're having to get it sucked out for people that either don't want to be around you or they don't think highly enough of you or that you're trying to fix like constantly. And like for some odd reason in this country, we're all about fixing people. It's all about, yeah, you want to make people's lives better and stuff. And I'm not like saying that, but like we sort of have like this thirst for like change. We want like thirst for changing people to like the fullest extent. Like let's go balls out to the walls and try to fix people. When really, so a lot of the times there's people like in our lives that are willing to be around us and we don't even take the time to notice. We just kind of like turn a blind eye to it. Like, you're no fun or I'm not going to fucking change. I'm not going to, why would I want to hang out with you? Like sort of like that sort of ordeal when the whole time that could have been a lifelong friend or a lifelong partner for 30 years. Like you just don't know. And you're like, well, how would I know that? You don't. The end of the day, life's a risk. Life is a gamble in general. There's never no guarantees. Hell, you can be married to somebody for 40 years and all of a sudden get divorced. There's no guarantees for longevity. In fact, everything in life has an expiration date. There's no, what's the word I want to use? There's no well, there's no like infinite amount of of anything, especially like even life, right? Like life, there's an expiration date on everyone's life. Every year I lose friends. Sometimes I wonder why I'm here. I'm like, damn, why? How come my life hasn't been lost? It's just not my time, But one day it will be. One day, one day I'll be gone. It's just a matter of life. I could die of like natural causes, heart attack, or tornado hits and sucks me out of the house. I don't know. I mean, it could be a number of things. There's infinite ways to die. It's everybody has that shelf life. So like there's no guarantee that no matter the choice you make is going to be entirely the right choice, but you want to take the choice that's going to take you to the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance is the key. You understand? And a lot of the times we spend too much time trying to hang out with people who are not going to make our lives any better. Let's repeat that now. Listen carefully. That is the truth. We're not hanging out with people that are going to make our lives better. That may sound steep. This is some deep shit that I'm saying, and I'm just keeping it 100. I need to start getting a drink of water again. I was doing good for 5 days straight, and then I just stopped a whole day. Let me know, Daniel, if you win gambling. All right, I'm a jealous motherfucker when it comes to people winning money and shit. I'm like, oh, I'm swinging at the air because somebody won money I didn't. God damn it. Actually, I do pay rent here. So, yes, that's a good question. And the answer is yes. I do. And so, with that being said, yes. But like I said, you are who your friends are. So if your friends are losers, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful manner, like they're up to no good, dumb shit like that, sooner or later you'll be one. It's a matter of time. And it's not like saying, oh, they don't have a job. No, I'm just saying if they're just up to no good, they're a bad influence, shit like that. It's just a matter of time before you fall into that. So for example, let's say I don't do drugs. I don't do drugs. I don't fuck with drugs. I hang out with all my friends and all my friends. But let's just say all my friends do drugs, right? Okay. So even though I don't do drugs, but all my friends do drugs, you see where the correlation is there? Eventually I'll become the same way. Actually, I do have friends. You're absolutely wrong about that. See, I don't need 1,000 friends. You know, that's when you're younger. You don't need 10,000 friends. That's all like when you're younger, it's a numbers game. When you're older, it's a quality. So if I have 4 or 5 friends, I'm straight. I have zero. Well, show me the proof. Show me receipts that I have 0 friends, because I'll be telling you you're lying. I literally was just hanging out with my friends just now at the bar. So, anyways, to make a long story much, much longer, and I was just hanging out with another one of my buddies the other day. Like I said, took him to Walmart and got him and his dog some groceries. Because, I wanted the kind heart and say, hey, man, I'm going to put some groceries in your house so that way you don't, you don't starve. And I, don't want to say, he has a dog and I'm an animal lover. So I'm like, can't see your dog go without food, or you. So let's go ahead and get you some groceries, man. At least fill up your groceries. You know what I'm saying? And he said, okay, yeah, I do need groceries. I said, yeah, because I don't want to see you starve. So I do have a kind heart. I do. You know, but like I said, if you hang out with your friends and they're up to no good, then again, you're going to become just like them. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of when. So that's just life. So like I said, Marvin said I'd rather have 5 friends than fucking 100. Oh, absolutely. And that comes with age. Um, when you're younger, it's about how many cars, how many girls you have, how much money you got and shit. Now, as you get older, that shit starts to decrease like this. It goes like this. Watch, just like that. And that's how it is. Your friends shrink. Everything shrinks when you get older. That's just a factor of life. You know. Um, I feel the same way. You know, I don't need 100 friends. You know, or 90 or 80 or anything like that. I used to brag about that shit. Um, oh man, I have like 50 and I can name all of them and write a paper down. Shit, I don't care about that shit no more. Five, give me 5, I'm good. 5 friends, shit, I'm straight. You know, and you look for quality and realize that quality is more important than quantity. We live in a country where quantity is such an abundance. You hear about that a lot. How many girls you slept with, how many guys you slept with, who has more hotter girls than who, all this dumb shit people uh, fight over, prove their manhood or prove their womanhood or whatever. How many sugar daddies she got, all that dumb shit. You know, None of that's important. You know, like I said, I remember one time my teacher told me this. I'll never forget. She's like, she was like in her 60s. I never forget. She was telling the class one time. She said, I only have one friend, and my best friend from high school, and that's all I wanted. And everyone was, and you know what? We used to laugh at that. We used to be like, oh, you dumb. And we would sit there and laugh at her. And she would tell us like how her and her friend would talk on the phone and this and that. I'm like, you know what, man, that shit is so true now. Like I never really thought about that, like the truth behind all that. That is so fucking true. You know? Like because you think like, oh, you only have one friend, that means you're not cool. Like that's all you have, one friend. And so everyone thinks, oh, you're not cool. So like we were kind of laughing at this woman, but I didn't think about it. And I'm older, I'm like, man, that's cool. Like y'all been friends for what, 40 fucking years? Probably 45 years. That's not bad. So you carry that friendship all throughout your life with that one person. From fucking like what, 12 maybe to like fucking like 65. That's great. You know? At least one's better than zero. Shit. And so, you know, but a lot of people, like in this country, it's all about the materialistic side of everything. So everybody grades each other based on money, women, cars, drugs, sex. It's all about that. You know, it's like the race to the finish line. It's like everybody's in a sprint trying to get to the finish line to see, like, at the end of the day, who has more girls than who. When at the end of the day, nobody gives a fuck because the only people you're like really impressed in is just dumbass people on the internet, like trolls and shit on the internet. That's all you're impressing. And really, I don't even know if they really care, to be honest with you. So it's just this whole like dumbass fucking views and clicks internet world, virtuality world we live in now, where everything's on the internet. The whole like, it's like our brains taken out and placed into the internet. Meanwhile, the body's still walking around and doing its daily life while the brain sits in the computer. I saw a video the other day about Joe Rogan talking about that. Joe Rogan and was the other one? Carlson Tucker. And they were talking about AI technology. And one of the things that they were talking about, and it was a scary video, mind you, I was watching it. And one of the things that was Joe Rogan was talking about was that AI technology is now, first it was supposed to, machines were supposed to do the things the human body can't do. Now the machines are doing the things the human mind can't do. And so now, as it gets more sophisticated, right, then it becomes a live entity. And so, you know, this idea that humans have the plug in their hand and that if the machines go off and, we can always have a plug to where we can pull it out, but the machine can act on its own based on survival, maybe it might turn against us. And they were talking about that the other day. I said, wow, that is amazing. That this shit could happen. Like, very well, like the robot takeover. Robots taking over. Like, that's scary thinking about it. I don't know how that's really relevant to this video. Just thought that I would mention that, but it's scary thinking about that. You know, imagine robots replacing us as life forms here in this country. I mean, in the Earth and stuff. Now that's scary. Like Skynet, like Terminator. Terminator 1, Terminator 2, shit like that. Just imagine if that happens, bro. But anyways, yeah, those are just some qualities in a person. I went over all 10 of them. I did a very good video on this. I did a good breakdown. What are some bad qualities in them? It kind of makes you steer away from certain people. Like I said, bad attitude, negative energy, no motivation, no eye contact, boring, non-confident, not willing to change or anything like that. No drugs, because again, I don't fuck with drugs. No preparation, and most importantly, non-creative. I think those are easily some easy red flags that would steer you away from being around certain people. You know what I'm saying? And as you get older, you need to start really monitoring the people that you hang out with and evaluating, the people you want to be around with. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to be rich or famous or anything like that, but at the same time, you want people that are going to inspire you to do better. That's like ultimately I enjoy hanging out with these group of people or this person or that person, and like, man, they just make me want to do better every day. They make me inspired to want to be a better person. It's just like, because you can like feed off that energy, feed off that person. They are just fun to be around with. They're positive. They believe in you. They want to be around you because they enjoy your personality or they enjoy the person you are. Y'all have a little bit in common, so y'all do enjoy things while y'all hanging out together, stuff like that. So that that camaraderie and that cohesionness is what makes and values the great you know encounter that you have with these people, and that ultimately you just want to be around them. And so that in general makes you want to be a great person, and continues to strive to be a better person. And that's sort of how I look at it now. I never really thought of that growing up. It was always about chasing women or, trying to impress this person or trying to impress that person, and, you know, trying to, win this person over. And it could be like dumb shit, like things like, people who aren't even really cool, but they put this image out there that they're just like this real badass hardcore motherfucker, and the whole time that person was just a piece of shit the whole time. And I'm sure you guys have ran into some of those people before on the streets or at school or in your life, just in general basis. And it's just like the whole time you thought that person was so cool, and then you met them, and there was just a complete opposite of what it was. You thought that some of these people were something, and then you turn around, they were nothing like you thought they were. Does that make sense? And just trying to put that image in your mind, if that makes sense, about about the what I'm thinking of. Because there's some guys that I remember I went to school with, And I used to thought they were cool as fuck. I'm like, man, I would like to hang out with that group of people. And then when I came and hung out with them, they were just all up to no good. They were robbing motherfuckers. They were all on dope. They were thieves, liars, and this. And I said, you know what? I said, damn. And I started learning all these things about them. And I said, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Like, wow, okay. I like, nah, I don't want to hang out with them. When I started realizing who they were. And so sometimes you kind of built these images up about people, and you're like, man, that person seems pretty cool. That person seems pretty cool. And then when you hang out with them, you realize there's like so many issues about them. And again, we're not perfect, but then when they're either on fucking dope, or they're fucking robbing motherfuckers, or they're just up to no good, and you're just like, nah, I don't want to be around that motherfucker anymore. I was wrong. I guess I was wrong. Well, it's crazy how the mind deceives you almost, in a sense. But that's the kind of beauty of life. You live and you learn. You get older. That's just to tell the wind. Like, that's how life throws shit at you. Or let's say you met a woman in your life, or you met a girl or something if you're a guy, and then you kind of build this image of her up as this fucking wonderful catch, wonderful pig, and then you met with her and she just made your life completely a living hell. Am I not lying? Am I not lying? Whew. Man, I got stories. Um, about that. Or let's just say, to make the even the odds, ladies, if you're watching this, has there ever been a time where you hung out with guys that you thought, come on, if there's any women watching this currently right now, most of my viewers are men, but sometimes women do come on here. Um, same thing. Are there ever guys that you kind of built this image up and thought they were a really cool person or inspiring? Come and find out they weren't. Or they were a weirdo. There were things about them that were creepy. Or just anything. I mean, just anything that turned you away, like red flag, red flag, red flag. Like, but in your mind, you built up this image, and that does happen. Definitely does happen. So, like I said, it's I think with the experience and stuff, as you start getting older, like one of the brain gets wiser. So one of the beauty things of it, you can sort of assess people one by one, and sort of you can spot the red flags out a lot sooner. Now, some people are good at hiding certain things, but the thing about it is that you can sort of weed them out and see the red flags or see the good qualities, and you can sort of make based on your experience of interaction with people in general, you can make those analysis and say, okay, do I see myself hanging out with this person, that sort of ordeal, and then go from there. You see what I'm saying? And so, with that being said, that's one of the beauties of life, and in the experience and the joyfulness of getting older, is that you can sort of decipher friendships a lot easier. It's just a lot easier to kind of pick through and weed out the ones who want to be there versus the ones that are just time wasters and energy wasters. You definitely don't want people like that in your life. You know, and that's sort of where I kind of was, going with this video. You know, and that's just the point that I was making. You are who you are, what you eat, which is true. Which is why I'm overweight, right? Birds of a feather flock together. You are who your friends are. So, if your friends are a bunch of losers, just hypothetically speaking, they're on drugs, they're up to no fucking good, sooner or later you're going to become one. It's a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So it's not, it's just a timeline. It becomes a matter of time for you to get caught up in some dumb shit. Like I said, it's just not worth trying to impress, some clowns at the end of the day. I'm better off. I mean, like I said, give me like 3 nerdy guys for fucking 500, Alex. you want to play video games? Fuck it. I don't give a fuck. Fucking hop on the fucking Madden or hop on the whatever PS4, PS5. I don't give a fuck. I'd rather do that than, be out with dudes that are just up to no good. And so, because they may be cool, in the party life. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, I would anything that's going to create less stress. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point of it. What fast food place do you flip burgers for? None. I used to work at McDonald's back in the day. I worked for them for like 4 months. It was fun. It was a summer job. I enjoyed it. I work for a government job now. But yeah, I've had my tell fair jobs. I've worked for a lot of companies. Trust me. I went from grocery store to fucking Jack in the Box to McDonald's. Worked a bunch of bullshit jobs. But. That's just life. Life is a journey. It's a pit stop. You're navigating through certain avenues in life, and life takes you in certain roller coaster rides until one day, the roller coaster ride ends. And one day it will. It's like life's just one big uh, roller coaster ride. And eventually, the roller coaster stops. It goes zoop, freezes like that, and that's when life ends. Everybody has a different lifespan. Some people live to be 100. Some live to be 120. Some live to be 60, 40. It just really depends. 20. Ideally, we want to live forever. I wish I could, but as you know, realistically, that's not going to happen. But that's okay. Life, for what it's worth, is short. That's why you want to make the best of it that you can. Because when you're not here no more, you're not here no more. So you only have one shot, unless you believe in reincarnation. There is a religion that believes in that, where like you forgot the name of that religion, but like basically you die and then you come back as another entity. You can come back as a cat or a dog, or you can come back and be like a cow or something, or a squirrel. So, again, it's we all have a different life, span. And unless you believe in reincarnation, then I guess you can have second, third, and fourth, and fifth chances. I wonder if there's a limit on there. Like cats have 9 lives. For humans, it's if you don't believe in reincarnation, then you only have one life. Isn't that crazy how the Earth's been around for millions of years, or whatever they say it's been around for? In that, in life, you're like a small speck on the world, and your life is like this much of its entirety of life. It's like if you're lucky to live 100 years, right? You're lucky to live 100 years, right? Then, even then, it's a small, like, form. Like, just think 1,000 years from now. None of this will be here. There'll be somebody new sitting in this chair making YouTube videos. It won't be me, but it'll be somebody else. Just think like your property and everything like that won't matter. You have so many generations of people that it passes down to. Oh, wow, I can only imagine. Stephen Rose, the 1,000th. It's just, you're just like, your life is like a small speck out of the infinite of life. It's crazy how that works. It's crazy how, life's just so short, and like you see a lot of your friends pass away, as years go by. Like friends die, family die. You just know it's just a matter of time before it's like the clock strikes 12, It's just, so what do you make out of life? Well, you just want like to me personally, I just, I'm not to say you can't ever escape drama or stress, but I just want peace. At this point, just peace. People want $1 million, or they want a Bugatti, or they want a car, or they want a really hot girl. Like, you know what I want? Peace. That's it. And the people that come in my life, I want them to bring me that peace, to help me alleviate that peace. I don't want like people in my life that's going to bring more stress. And I mean, obviously, it's not going to entirely be that case. I understand that, but the people that are in my circle, I want them to inspire me to be better. Does that make sense? And it does make sense, because why else would you not want friends who aren't going to encourage you to be a better person? Then, and even if you are a great person or a good person, you can be better the next day or the next day after that. And that's how I sort of look at it. I sort of look at like life in general. Like, what is your New Year's resolution, Rose? Is it to lose weight? How much? Are you going to lose 30 pounds? 40, 50? It's like, well, yeah, I mean, obviously I do. I mean, I've already lost weight, but I want to lose more. Yes, absolutely. But at this stage of the game, I just want peace. That's it. Nothing fancy, just peace. I don't think that's anything like that's, I don't think it's anything wrong to ask for, right? I think it's a reasonable New Year's resolution. Like, nothing fancy. Just say, I just want peace. I just want peace in life. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get that all the time. And I'm not saying it's going to come true. I'm just saying ideally you would like to have peace. You just want to do things and be around with the people that's going to bring you that peace. You understand? And you're going to want to do things that's going to bring you that peace. That's the point that I'm making. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I really do. I think I got kind of a little deep here at the end. A little deep water for you. I hope that you understand this video and where I'm coming from. You have to, at the end of the day, watch out who you hang out with. You are what you eat. Birds of a feather flock together. You are what your friends are. Like, all that shit's true. And so, like, if you're going to be around, like, people that have nothing but negative energy all the time and stuff like that, it's just not a good environment for you to be in. Even if you have to decrease the amount of your friends and have maybe like 2 or 3. And what's the difference between 10 and 3? Not really much. 7 less friends you have to worry about. But if you could have 3 or 4 that are decent, I don't see there's anything wrong with that. Like I said, my teacher only had 1. She said, I only had 1 friend for the last 45 years. I'm like, God damn, that's it? We started laughing at her, but now I realize, I'm like, damn, okay. That's what's up. Shit's better than 0. Better than fucking 0. That's all I gotta say. 1 is better than 0, folks. Alright. I said everything I had to say in this video. I'm gonna get some sleep. My next video will not be until... I gotta work 12 hours the next 4 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I work Monday. So I'm going to be off Tuesday. So you're looking at Tuesday before you guys see me again. Yeah, I know you're going to miss me, right? Yeah, I know. The 5 viewers, any of y'all going to miss me for 5 days? If not, it's okay. You can be honest. Just say, nah, Mr. Rose, fuck you. I ain't going to miss you for shit. I'm like, hey, man. I think I kept it, reasonable. I wasn't being a dick. Was I not being a dick in this video? Was I being too harsh, man? Come on, man. Versus normally, no one will be cool with me. Women are not in the bag, guys. I think what it is I think men are guilty of this too. I think that we get obsessed in changing people. Because, America's all about second and third and fourth chances. That's why you'll see some of the most corrupt people or evil people do bad things, and they sort of have like a tread. Like, in other words, like if somebody invented the cure for cancer, like no one would care. But if Jeffrey Dahmer had an 11th movie, everybody would be at the theaters. Does that make sense? The whole like society is half-assed backwards on what they view as entertainment, what they view as educational, what they view as formal. And it's a mindset thing, and you have to change your mindset from that. And it's hard to do. Because, like me, I'm into horror movies. I'm not going to lie to you. And I still am. I watch zombie movies. I'm into all that shit. But see, the difference is I'm not sitting there saying, Freddy Krueger for president or fucking Jeffrey Dahmer for president. Yeah, I'm not doing this. But you got some people who are in this like virtual reality like mentality. And the problem when it comes to women and bad guys is that I think if you ask me personally about the whole bad guy concept, I think it's just a term that we put as saying that women are attracted to the wrong types of men, right? The women are attracted to the wrong types of men. Okay, fair point. That is true. But to tell you the truth, there's only two different types of men in this country, for the most part. There's really three types, but two types are the most dominant population of men. Number one is the bad guy, cosplay. Okay. Number two is Mr. Nice Guy. You got number three, Mr. Balancer. Mr. Balancer is ultimately the type of man that I think most women would go for. It's just there's not as many of them. A lot of guys cosplay to get girls. A lot like they lie to get women, which that's ultimately women deceive, men lie. This is the reality of it. And so men will do goofy shit to get girls to impress them. That's not anything uncommon. That's very common. The difference is now guys go above and beyond this ridiculous way of how they do it. And the internet kind of thrives that ignorance. So like you'll see a bunch of guys being creepy online and saying stupid stuff to girls. I had homegirls of mine show me their DMs all the time of these men that will say these creepy things. But the difference is how many of them will actually say that in person. Less than probably 2%. I can guarantee that. Why? Because in person, there's consequences when there's a face-to-face interaction. So, for example, the cops could be called. Other men could witness that and they'll want to pounce that guy. So 98% of men that are creepy online would never act that way in person because there's consequences that come behind that. And if you're a man, you already know this. In fact, men in general hold each other accountable. If I went into a room full of men, right, and I was saying I'm a fucking badass and I'll beat the living shit out of all these guys in the room. Let's just say I did that hypothetically, right? Now, if you're a man watching this, you know where I'm going with this. Eventually, some guy in that crowded room is going to knock me out. Now, whether that was right or wrong is interpreted in many ways. They would say, well, that's against the law what he just did. Yeah, it is. That technically is, but that doesn't mean I'm not susceptible to getting my ass whooped. Some guy in the crowd didn't like what I was saying. He challenged me on it and he beat me up. You see guys, this happens to guys all the time. Like when you watch these videos go viral, they'll start running their mouth. Some guy, probably not even half their size, will go and start beating the shit out of them. You'll see videos of stuff like this. And this stuff happens because you know why? Men hold each other accountable for that shit. Men hold each other accountable. And see, I think even though women say, well, you guys act creepy online, I'm like, okay, I agree with that. But the thing is that in person, they would never do that. That's all just internet bullshit. All those creepy DMs that you get, ladies and stuff. I'm not saying that there's not weirdos and creeps that exist. But what I'm saying is that 98% of the time, they would never act that out in person because there are consequences for that. Jail time, police, and getting their ass whooped by a random dude. That's the difference. I mean, men know that. Men know that they can't cross certain lines with other men. If I'm standing with 10 men, in a room, And like I'm saying in my head, I'm looking around, I'm scanning the field. You're gonna know there's gonna be some dudes in that crowd that are gonna challenge you. So like men know to have to come correct. It's just part of the how it is. So all that stuff that women complain about how dudes are creepy online, which I'm not saying they don't have a point to make, but 98% of the time they'll never be able to do that in person because there are consequences that come with that. You understand? And the internet is sort of a safe haven for trolling and people to hide behind stock accounts and say stuff to like either piss off a video maker or to troll other people that are video makers, or even troll each other. Trolls trolling other trolls in the comment section. You see a lot of that. And that's why the internet, it gives you that ability to sort of hide your face behind a profile pic, and that's what it is, right? And so, but the difference is though, that's on the internet. In person, that'll never happen because there's a consequences for that. If I did, for example, if I did the shit that some of these trolls did online and I did it in person, somebody would come and punch me in the face in person, another man. And I'd expect that because that's the consequences that I paid for that. So a lot of men know in the back of their mind the dumb shit they do on the internet is not even half the shit they'll do in person. And then we know that. We all of men know that. Even me to a degree. I know I can't be trotting my stuff around in the streets like that. And some dude will come size me up. And that's just how life is. We as men know that. It's not any secret. It's been going on since the beginning of time. And so that's what I explain to these women. Now, the thing is, I don't think women date bad boys. I just think that we as society, we get involved with chasing the wrong types of people, and that we get obsessed in it. It's sort of like with guys, and that'll date the type of women they date here that are, you know, um, I'm not trying to use friendly words for it, but let's just say, they date the wrong types of women. And so what happens is, these guys are chasing these women knowing they're no good for them. And you see this a lot. Usually guys will chase women that are way out of their league. And so what ends up happening is that they're like trying to like, a lot of these guys will even try to be friends with these girls they like. I was guilty of that. You hope to be their friend and maybe they'll end up liking you, and then you get angry and frustrated after a while because you realize it never changed, and then you kind of get mad at her. And I'm like, well, which yeah, that is kind of true, but at the same time, nobody told you to stick around and be your friend either. You should have put a boundary, and said, I'm not trying to be friends with somebody I like. Like if this doesn't work, hey, no hard, no foul. We can shake hands. I'll go about my business, but I can't be friends with you because I don't want it to interfere with feelings that I already have. It just doesn't make any logical sense. If you explain it like that, people will understand your side a little bit better. It's just, I think when, the way that I see things is it's like people want to like force the change. Girls want to force the wrong type. They want to force non-committed men to commit, and men want to force the hoe to be a housewife. That's what you're seeing in this country. Is a lot of guys say, "Oh, I want a virgin girl, I want a good girl," but in reality, those aren't the girls they're going after. They're going after the girl that's the exact opposite of that. It's a you're saying one thing, but your actions say a completely different thing. These dudes are not chasing no virgin girls. They're not, and it's lies. It's bullshit, like shit you see on the internet for clicks and views. And I want a good girl that's, less. It's like, well, that's not the girls y'all go chasing all at the club and shit. Those are exact not the types of women you're chasing. That are these famous Instagram models. They ain't no damn virgin. And like, what the hell are you doing chasing them for? Oh, well, this is I'm trying to get laid. Well, but the thing is though, is you're asking them out on dates. You're in their DMs. Want to take them out. Now, yeah, if you're just telling them bullshit, that's cool. But let's not pretend like you're not. When guys are sitting here saying, the vast majority of guys here in Western civilization, and they're sitting here saying, I want to date a virgin girl, that's all cap. It's bullshit. It's not true. It's just not true. They're going after promiscuous women, trying to turn them into housewives. The change. Let's force the change. Well, I've been doing all right. I'm doing all right. I'm just telling the truth. What I say was wrong. I mean, I may not agree with what I'm saying, but it's truth. Or what I call it, my truth. It's my truth. It's my truth. And to be fair, the girls are not any better. They go after Mr. Wrong all the time. Their friends tell them, hey, this dude's a piece of shit. The mom and dad will say that dude's a piece of shit. Her girlfriends will say that guy's no good. And what does that girl do? Still goes out with him. I look, listen, it's I even at I'll tell you the dumbest story. I had this girl I used to have a crush on, right? We're like really good friends, right? And I don't have no beef with her. She's real cool. You know what I'm saying? Um, she used to complain about guys that were just using her for sex, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, yeah, this guy keeps inviting me over and stuff. And it's like, I just want to know if he's going to be committed or not because I'm not just to waste my time, blah, 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 going in and sleeping with this guy, right? And so I said, okay, how about not seeing him anymore? Like, don't go to his house, don't sleep with him anymore, don't mess around with him no more, right? Oh, okay, that's real good advice. Well, yeah, right? And then about a month later, we're talking, or I mean, we're still talking, but having conversation. But she's about a month later after the incident. She said, "You remember so and so?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah. What about him?" And she's like, "Yeah, I went to his house the other day." And I was like, "Wait, what? You went to his house? Why would you do that?" And she's like, "Oh, we went over there and spent the night." I'm like, "She slept with him, basically." Yeah. And I'm like, "But I thought you said that he was just using you or whatever. Like, what happened to that?" Oh, well, we were just having, so I was like, so what happened to all that whole, like, he was just using you and shit? I was like, you know, I think it's, again, it's an obsession that I think that we have in this country with trying to change people. You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm kind of going with this? Like people who play hard to get or people who, are the complete opposite of what we want. And then you see somebody and they kind of like are appealing, good looking, charming, charismatic, etc., etc. And you're trying to like change that person. You see what I'm saying? You become obsessed in changing that person. And that's where we're at in this country. This is what everything is like half-assed backwards here. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. If you look at people's actions rather than their words, you'll see that there's two different coins there, two different flips of the coin. A lot of the guys say they want a virgin girl. That's just flat out lies. They want a girl that's a little bit experienced in the bedroom. They want a girl that's a little bit experienced in sexual pleasure. They want a girl that's a little bit experienced in certain areas, right? Well, how else she not gonna get the experience? She a damn virgin. Ain't no dude's gonna sit there and want no damn virgin. And a lot of the times, the girls that are virgins, and I'm gonna be honest with you, they're not really attractive. And you think those guys are in their DMs? I'm not saying they're not, but probably not as much. But the girl that's the loudest in the room, barks the loudest in the room, like let's say Bad Barbie, she gets a ton of dudes. Now I'm not saying she's not attractive. I think she's ghetto and ignorant. That's just personally my opinion, though. I think that Bad Barbie is ghetto trash, but she attracts a lot of men. And the thing about it is that she's still attractive, and no matter how ghetto she is, she's still going to get a lot of guys look at her because she's attractive, and not only that, but she tends to be very boisterous, and a lot of times that appeals to the confidence role that she speaks up for herself, and that she has true meaning behind her word, and that there's like a respect for him there, and that you'll get noticed a little bit more. Plus, she's famous too. That kind of helps, that sort of ordeal. But again, these guys are capping when they're saying, "Oh, I'm just trying to find this little virgin." I'm like, man, that's bullshit. You know damn well you'll date one of these baddie types or Instagram models if you ran the chance. Now, for me personally, the chicks that I date or I go out with are average. Maybe a five and below in looks, but they got a personality that's an 8 to a 10. And other contributing factors about them that make them very attractive. Personality, good energy, they want to be around with me, they inspire me to be better. They're just cool and exciting to get to know. And maybe they're not the best looking women on the market, but they are attractive enough and they fill the void up in other areas. And most importantly, they make me feel important and make me feel they give me peace. So I can skip the bad Barbie or the Instagram model and I can go for a five or a four in looks or a three. And I'm okay with that. I'm fine. I'm content. Because like I said, I'm at a point where I want peace. I don't want nothing else. I don't know. You know, these guys are trying to chase these nasty, nasty type, and they're trying to fix them. They're trying to make them housewives. Make it make sense. Meanwhile, you got girls that are trying to chase Mr. Wrong and trying to gig him Mr. Right. It's an obsession. It's in the mind. And I got caught up in that bullshit. But you have to change your mindset in order to change that. And until you do, until that happens, you're never gonna be fixed. Like you're always gonna keep running to people like that. You know. So what I do is I just hang around with people that are gonna bring me peace. I'm not saying that you can't be a really attractive person and not be cool. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I can date an average girl and I can be content with that. Like it's no salt off my back. I don't lose no sleep. If guys want to go around and say, I got this baddie here and I got this bad type here, man, I tell you, I pulled her from this and that. Okay, hey, all power to you. Good for you. I'm happy for you. I wish you the best. You have your methods. What works for you, and what works for me works for me. My point is, I want a woman that's gonna bring me peace, and if I have to lower, my expectations, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. To dummy down the resume a little bit, nothing wrong with that. Um, like I said, we are obsessed in changing people, and me, I'm not necessarily saying I'm trying to change people necessarily. I just looking for people that are going to give me, good vibes. Again, a great attitude, eye contact, that's creative, and all the things that I went over with, and most importantly, it's going to bring me peace, and that's very important. So instead of like trying to focus on the women who are chasing bad guys, maybe you should start focusing on women that don't. So you gotta kind of have to look at it from a different perspective. You understand? Like a different perspective. Your Raiders are rebuilding, by the way. So, of course, they're tanking, which would make sense. Raiders need a quarterback. Why wouldn't they tank? It would make sense. What's the point of winning now? Why would you win out just to move up the draft? Right? And wouldn't you want a decent draft pick? Top five? Make no sense to win right now. 3 games left. Fuck it. Lose them all. You know? Like I said, we're too obsessed in trying to fix people and change people when, you know, there's people around us that want to be a part of our lives and that would love to hang out with us. We got cornered. We got what? I don't understand what you're talking about. We got cornered. What? I don't know what you're saying, man. But Matthew Cano, man, if I was you, man, I would start changing your attitude a little bit. And I don't mean it in a bad way. But stop with this whole women only want to date bad boys. That's all bullshit. That's all internet bullshit. You watch these YouTubers that talk that stupid shit and selling fake courses and trying to tell you what type of women to date and treat women like crap. And don't do that, man. Don't fall in that red pill nonsense. If I was you, man, I would just date average looking chicks. They're going to bring you less pain. They're going to bring you less stress. And they're going to bring you less problems. Now, I'm not saying they're not perfect, but I mean, just if I had to date an average woman that's going to give me less stress, so be it. Fuck it, I don't care. I'm content with life, man, and that's stop giving into that whole women only date bad boys narrative. We men also chase women that don't really notice them. I've been guilty of that shit. I'll be the first to tell you. I've went after women that had no interest in me, and it's kind of my fault for trying to force them to like me. And you have to realize that as you get older, that you have to change that. You have to change that tone. And the way you do it is you start trying to go after the ones that will give you the time of the day, and go from there. Just saying. It's all about, positive energy, having a positive attitude, thinking positive and stuff like that, and having a little bit, you know, confidence in yourself, stuff. You'll start noticing changes, man. When people want to be around you and stuff, they start to pick up on that shit. Trust me, if there's one thing I regretted was ever getting involved with Mjito, ever getting involved with just blaming women for not wanting to like me, maybe trying to force women to like me that weren't into me. Like, I was wrong for those videos, bro. Why do you think I deleted all that shit, man? Because I was following the wrong YouTubers. I was listening to the wrong guru guys, dating guru experts. I unsubbed from a lot of them. I don't even watch their content anymore. Fresh and Fit, done. I don't follow Miss Pearly. I don't follow none of them. They're trying to spin in this gender war narrative, and they're trying to pin men and women against each other. It's the stupidest thing ever, bro. It's just the worst thing you can do is get involved in that dumb shit, bro. I'm telling you, you'll be better off. You know, like I said, you don't want to waste time on bullshit like that, man. 'Cause I'm telling you, it's not healthy. It's not good for the soul, man. It's not good for the soul. Like I said, you know, like me, I watch a lot of educational videos now. I watch a lot of like World War II, World War One videos. I watch a lot of UFO videos, stuff like that. Like videos that are fun to learn, not about gender wars. Done with that shit. I no longer watch, about guys interviewing OnlyFans girls about why they won't date them. Like, it's ridiculous. And it's just like, shit's stupid. Right, little pause? Shit's dumb. You agree, sir? See, he agrees. That's what I'm saying. It's just don't get into those gender wars. You know? I'm just trying to educate you, my brother. Because trust me, you're not going to hear this from too many people. I see a lot of angry, bitter YouTubers on here. And I start to see that. Especially with a lot of these guys making videos trying to give into this gender war narrative. It's dumb. Don't get involved in it, man. From getting a quarterback the last draft. I hear you. No, I'm glad you hear me, man. Just, you know what I'm saying? Just, like I said, my best advice to you, man, is just, find your inner peace. I'm telling you, it's a lot better, man. You'll feel a lot better. You'll want to hang around with people. They'll start to feel those vibes and it'll start changing. When the men notice that, and I'm not saying that in a gay way, but when, your friends notice that and they're like, man, this is cool, then the women start picking up on that shit too, bro. And it's like I said, you'll start noticing certain changes and stuff. Like, for example, I got DM'd today by like two women, right? That I know. And they're like, man, you look like you're having fun and stuff. I post pictures on Facebook of places I travel to, whether I go out to eat or go hiking or do all this stuff. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, so when are we going to hang out? Why you never sent me no invite? I'm like, well, you never asked. And they're like, oh, well, you shoot me an invite. I was like, I tell you what, I'll fly. I made a joke to one of them because one of them lived in like New York. I said, I'll fly you down here. I just made a joke, right? And she's like, oh, so where am I going to stay at? I'm like, I had a guest room. Right, where I played it off, right? So I'll let you stay in the guest room. And I have no guest room. And she's like, so why can't I stay in your room? I'm like, the eyebrow went up like the rock, but I can't do the people's eyebrow. So like, why the fuck you want to stay in my room? It sounds like a sexual in your window, right? I would assume maybe my spider senses went off, right? I'm trying to tell you, bro. It's all about your energy and stuff. And when you post on social media, places where you go to, people start seeing your tread. But if you start forwarding shit like women are this, and they're gonna be like, oh, this dude's a fucking incel that can't get women. He's just one jealous, misogynistic piece of shit. You don't want to give people that impression about you. From now on, Matthew, do me a favor. Drop the whole women date bad boys. You have to look at the bigger picture. Look at society as a whole. The reason why, okay, for 4 viewers watching, the reason why women date bad boys is the same reason why guys chase after promiscuous, loud, obnoxious, ghetto women for the vast majority of men. They don't want virgin women because society tells you that, through TV ads and all this shit, that, you want to chase the loudest person in the room and you want to change people. Like, we're all about change. That kind of ordeal. Like, why do you think, for example, like shows like My Prison Life is so good, right? Is people like watch the drama. So where's all the drama go to? To the people who cause drama. And what does that do? That attracts people. It stirs a buzz. And people can't get enough. They can't get enough of it. They can't get enough thirst. They're thirsty for this shit. They love it's the shock value. They love it. And then they get infatuated with it. I can watch horror movies, but that doesn't mean I'm in love with the serial killer either or the slasher. Hell no. I might like Jason Voorhees, but I don't want to fuck him. You know? You know? I'm just saying that there's a difference between the two. And I think the problem is that, in society in whole, we start shoving down people's throats what we should like, what we should not like. And there's no decipher from reality versus TV. And so women like bad boys is because that's all you fucking see on TV. Fucking Western shows, novellas, fucking horror movies, fucking rap music videos, all that shit. What's in common with all that dumb shit? Basketball wives, fucking Jersey Shore, all that bullshit. What do you see? It's the bad guys. The bad guys gets all the fucking girls, man. So you see that shit. So that's why I say you got guys trying to cosplay bad guys, like especially like this nerd culture we live in now. You see a lot of these guys doing that shit on the internet, trying to be like nerd gangsters. And shit looks corny. It looks fucking stupid. But that's just me personally. And so now you got Mr. Nice Guys. It's just a bullshit. This doesn't exist. The whole like, oh, women don't date nice guys. There's no such thing as a nice guy. Because every guy that I've ever met, including myself, that said they were a nice guy, it's not nice. I wasn't nice when I said I was a nice guy. I was entitled. I was a whiner and a crybaby and felt that I was entitled to someone. But see, the difference, I can admit that because I look back and reflect on those things about me and realize those were flaws, and I needed to get that out of me, push it out of me. But a lot of people, they want to be victims. They like that shit. And they want to live off of that victimhood because they think somebody's going to feel sorry for them and date them. And it's not going to, no one's going to do that. They're not going to do that. You're a fool, a sucker, a sucker shit. So these guys are trying to be Mr. Nice Guy and trying to be Mr. Victim. And like, these girls don't want to date me. It's not that they don't want to date you. Well, that is true too. But it's not just that. It says the fact is also is that you're a crybaby, a whiner, entitled, spoiled, and you're lazy, and you don't want to compete. And that's just that's the sad thing about it is no one wants to compete for anything. They just want to be given shit to them, and they don't want to put any work. Which is why I've said this 100 times, over and over. We live in an entitled society. People don't want to work for anything. They don't want to have responsibilities. They don't want to be told nothing, and they just want to be given shit. And that's not how it works. But that's the society we live in now, because we've been given everything so much for free, and we've been pampered for so long. And your government's also told us that, well, you don't have to worry about working and doing all this shit, blah, 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 like this entitlement. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's a bigger picture of why things are happening, and people don't ever ask the questions of why these things are happening. Because this, people are entitled. People are entitled to what they think they're entitled to. You know, and then you see girls that don't get, girls that'll ask a guy for their number, the guy will say no, and the girl will post his shit on social media and try to embarrass him. You know? And I tell the girls all the time, respectfully too. I don't go at it with them in the comments. I say, I thought that no means no, because when you tell us no, when we ask you for your number, and you tell us no, we're supposed to respect that. Well, yeah, you are. Okay, well then why can't you meet that same energy when you want a guy that you want, you feel entitled to his number, and he tells you no, all of a sudden that's not the same. Rules apply for you. And that's when they get angry with me. And I'm like, I'm just shooting the same shit you shot back at me, saying that I was supposed to take the no, respect the no, and I did. And but when I'm telling you to do the same, all of a sudden it's a problem, and the same shoe doesn't apply on the same foot, even though my foot's probably bigger than yours. But it's the point that I'm making is that people are entitled. You have to change your whole mindset. It's a whole mindset thing. There's a lot of people ask me that you don't make the videos you used to make. I really wish you would go back into that. No, that'll never happen again. I'll shut this channel down if I ever do that again, because I'm just not that person anymore. I steered away from the whole victimhood and Judo thing. It's all women's fault, feminism, all that bullshit. No. I'm responsible for my own life. I'm responsible for where life takes me. And I'm responsible for my own decisions I make in life. I'm responsible for me being overweight. I'm responsible for me getting a haircut today. I'm responsible for me losing 15 pounds and continue to remain eating healthy. I'm responsible for getting a better job. I'm responsible for my dating life. It's me. It's my fault. And until people actually start looking in the mirror and saying those things to themselves and start applying it, they'll never change. Ever. It's always somebody else's fault. Now, maybe certain cases that's true, but not all the time. So now you gotta look at yourself in the mirror, say, is there something I'm doing wrong, or is there something I need to change about myself? And that's hard to do, because a lot of people hate to do it, because we live in a country where people are entitled and we're all perfect. This is not the case. And that's just how people are. The girls included. Girls are also the same way. They think they're entitled, From the Living Dead, 1985. Oh, that's a good movie. Yeah. Traumatized the hell out of me. It's funny. I just think, we live in this state of victimhood. But again, this whole victimhood shit, drama, all this like women versus men and black versus white, it's what stirs the pot. It's a shock value. It's what making money on here. And that's what's all the attention's going to go, these distractions. But, my focus is on more so on, is the dollar going to collapse? Are we heading to World War III with Russia? Are we going to be wiped off the face of the earth in a nuclear disaster? I'm looking at that. I'm looking way ahead. You know, I'm looking at that shit, man. Are we gonna have social? Are we gonna have Social Security when it's time to retire? Are we gonna have digital currency? Is AI technology taking over? Are robots gonna kill us? That's what goes through my mind more than are women dating bad boys. Yeah, they do. What they mean by bad boys is an attractive man, most likely, that a bunch of girls want, that may not commit. And girls want to see if they can make him commit. That's the logic behind it. When guys say I'm just a nice guy, I'm like, not really. There's nothing nice about you. I've even had some of my homeboys will say that I'm a nice guy. I'm like, not really. I mean, yeah, you're probably nice when we're hanging out having a sandwich, but to say that you're entirely nice is like saying that you're perfect. Humans are not perfect. There's nothing nice about anybody. Now, they may be a kind person, but they're not nice. People can switch from Jackal to Hyde. And so, you know, that's not true about, there's no such thing as nice guy and bad guy. It's all bullshit. It doesn't exist. I think what it is girls are obsessed in changing the guy that doesn't want to commit to try to make him commit. And so he gets the persona of the bad guy persona. That the minute you get a girlfriend, other guys are going to look at you and say, that's a fucking bad guy right there. Why'd you pick him? So in other words, why are you fucking him and not me? Why are you dating him and not me? That's basically what the whole nice guy analogy is. It's like, so why are you fucking him and not me? Why are you dating him and not me? It's like, well, I could say the same thing about, uh, you know, why is she not fucking with you? Stuff like that. So you have to kind of look at it like that. It's a lot of, you know, I said we live in an entitled country, bro. I don't know what to say. But yeah, stop following those YouTubers who are spitting that whole bad guy narrative. In fact, bad boyism's not even really a thing now. That shit died in the 90s, like the late 90s. Now it's just a bunch of nerds cosplaying like their favorite bad guy, like an action figure from the fucking late 80s or something. It's not the same. Like I said, if you look at the way everything's set up now, nobody even dates anymore. I don't, like, unless you've like met somebody online, or or maybe you met somebody like from a group or something. It's really gonna be really hard to walk up to random people. You see sort of the death of the stranger talk, where people used to just walk up to random people and talk. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It's just not as often anymore because people aren't going out anymore. You're looking at population decline. People aren't having as many kids, or not having kids at all. So I mean, you got to look at the bigger picture. It goes just beyond what girls are dating. Do girls? To be honest with you, I'm not saying that women don't pick bad guys, but what I will say is that I think that I think that what was I gonna say? It's not that women do pick bad guys. I will admit that, but we also don't give women credit for giving men chances. So, for example, like they'll say, "Oh, she dated this one guy that nobody liked, but she's still with him. She still dated him." What that means is she's sort of loyal. I'm not saying she's loyal to the right guy, but it shows that she's willing to ignore the outside interference that comes in. Now, if you were to take in comparison to men, big difference. Because men are more prone to listening to outside interference than women are. And men are prone to acting on that outside interference than women do. What do I mean by that? Term mama's boy. Men will listen to their mothers more than their women. That's it sink in. And so they'll say, my mom said this about you and that about you, and confront her. And it could be true, it could be not. But men tend to listen to outside interference. Women don't. The whole family could hate that guy, and if she really loves him she'll date him. She'll sneak out. She'll go through all, and we don't give women credit for that at all. Imagine dating a woman and her family hated your guts. Just give an example, but she's still stuck by your side, even if they had zero reason to like you, or let's say they had a reason not to like you, and she's still stuck by your side. We don't give women credit for that, do we? No. I'm just saying, is that women tend to ignore more of the outside internal forces. It's sort of like they have to see it for themselves. Now, do women tend to kind of like dig their feet into the stand and prolong their stay? Yes. Absolutely. And guys, on the other hand, they'll listen to outside interference. They'll say, man, that girl's a hoe, or she's fucking around with this dude, or she's bad influence. And guys are more prone to listening to outside interference. Now, that could be a good thing, but that could also be a bad thing. The bad thing is when mom gets involved and mom starts running her mouth. That's why a lot of these women say there's mama's boys. Because why? Because the mom is in the ear of the dude talking shit about the woman. Come on. And men are more prone to listen to their moms, despite the fact whether dad's in the picture or not. It's relevant. He might ignore her and still date that woman, but it don't mean he ain't listening. He'll listen to her. He'll listen to his mom. And mama knows best. And so mama will tell him all these things, and then he'll be like, yeah, that fucking bitch, my mom was right about you. See? That's how it goes. See, that's one thing I will give credit to my mom about. She never got involved in my relationships, even if they were bad or she had bad hints about some of the women I dated. She said, I knew this girl in particularly was just using you. I just didn't want to say anything because I wanted you to learn for yourself. That is a responsible mother right there, because that's like saying, I don't want to involve myself in your personal affairs like most mothers do. You see what I'm saying? So I thought, and I looked at it, I said, damn, that's kind of smart. But most moms aren't like that. They'll interfere. I want to say interfere. They'll intervene in the relationship, and they'll go and tell their son all that shit about that girl. And some of it could be true, some may not. Or it could be half the truth. Like some of it's true, some of it's not. But men are more prone to listen to their moms. Women are more or less prone to listening to their parents or anybody's. The women want to see it for themselves. So like I said, there are pros and cons to both of those scenarios, but I don't think we give women enough credit for the chances they do take on some of these guys, even if they knew right away they were no good. You know what I'm saying? Because they still went out of their way to give that guy a chance. I'm just saying that there's a bigger picture to this shit, than what people say. I think the whole cookie cutter, I'm a nice guy, or this girl only wants to date bad guys, I think it's a 90s, early 2000s thing that just died out. I think what it is if you ask me personally, the common denominator is, why is this happening? Because we live in a society that's obsessed in change. We live in a society where you see nothing but the bad guys on TV, right? The popular guys are the bad guys. You see the heel in wrestling. You see the heels are the popular guys in wrestling, right? You see the faces tend to be a little bit boring. They tend to be not as boisterous or whatever. So we tend to attract ourselves to the heel guy, the bad guy, the NWO, you know. Everybody wants to be part of the NWO, but nobody would like to be a WCW wrestler, right? Nobody wants to be those guys. We love the bad guys. We like the shock value. We like the attention. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it'll do us any better. I just think that, we have to reprogram our thought process to process how we interpret what's good and what's not. And it's like all the wrong things about society is put on a pedestal while all the good things is sort of brushed off in the back burner. And it's sort of like, we'll put you on a waiting list for later. And that's until we change that thought process, you're not going to see any difference. So that's why, like, I try not to, I try to watch more educational videos, shit like that. Like, for example, I did Bigfoot sighting last night, talked about Bigfoot. I go into World War II videos. I watch a lot of like news, media outlets stuff, and I'll do a little politics here and there. Don't get me wrong, but I try to feed my brain with educational stuff rather than misleaded gender war, race war bias crap. That's just separating everybody. I try to stay away from that. So that's how I look at it. Like I said, I had two women contact me today, asked me if I wanted to hang out with them. Like, psh, I think they want to fuck. I'm like, God damn. I'm like, they're two of my homegirls, but I think they want to fuck. And it's like, I think it's the difference between now and then was I was like always a whiner and a complainer, and I was blaming somebody else. And I think it just steered people away from wanting to be around me. And now it's sort of like they see this different energy that I'm producing, that I'm pushing out. And now it's like, now they want to be around me. Does that make sense? And I think that's how you have to change that. You got to change that energy output. Change that energy output to bring people closer in. Now, you may not be able to get all of them back, but you can get some. That's a start. That's how I look at it, man. I look at it like, I finally realized now that I'm in control of my own life. It's not like a boogeyman under the bed and if there's some girls that are in the bad guys and they say I'm a nice guy, cool. I'm like, bitch, go ahead and go date him then. I don't fuck. It's your pussy. I don't have no control over that shit. It's just, I have a different mindset over it. I think people need to stop getting obsessed over it and start beating themselves up over it. Don't beat yourself up over a rejection. That it's just we have our priorities in the wrong places. We need to start, redefining ourselves. Like a lot of guys live life to chase women instead of like trying to chase a career or chase money or to, better themselves. And then the women will come. Until men start realizing that, it's not going to change. Oh yeah, man, that was a long time ago. Man, those are the days. Man, those are the days. I used to say the dumbest shit, man. I tell you, life just goes by fast now. At this point in my life, I just want peace, man. That's all I want. It's nothing special. I'm not asking for much. That's all I want, man. I'm not asking for nothing else. That's all I want. Like, if I get it, I get it. I don't, I don't. Don't you hate yawning when it's 2 in the morning? Yeah, it's 2:27. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna go to bed. I'm tired. At least, well, you don't always have to be a single man. You can find somebody. If I was you, I would date girls around a 5 or 4 or 3. Go from there. Because they may be a 4 and 5 in looks, but then they can have the personality and the heart of gold, and it kind of makes up for the rest of it. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna head to bed, man. Thank you, at least Matthew Cano, for participating in the comments. Yeah, I have 4 people watching right now, bro. You're only one comment right now. So like the other 3 are kind of like I'm just watching the silence because Steve Rose is so fucking boring that I'm not gonna engage with that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to engage with him because he's just a boring motherfucker. I'm like, ain't nothing boring about me. It's more boring about your motherfucking ass. You can't participate in the comments now. That it's just me doing all the talking. Don't do movie night for that scary movie. I did one for what was that movie? Demons 1. And somebody like commented and was like, "You're not supposed to do that." I'm like, okay. And the next thing you know, I get like a warning thing and I got a strike. That was back in June, I think. Yeah, and I got a strike, and then the strike came off. I think or I was able to upload in a week, and then I couldn't do any live streams or something. I was like, you know what, fuck it. Night of the Comet was good. And I didn't get a strike for Night of the Comet or Dark Knight Scarecrow. I didn't yeah, either one of those. But Night of the Demons, I had a strike for that. And that was a good movie. Demons 1 and Demons 2 was damn good. They just don't make movies like that anymore. They do not make movies like that anymore. That is for damn sure. Phantasm's a good one. Oh, absolutely. Phantasm's really good. Like I said, they don't make movies like that no more. Like to me personally, I've seen a lot of 80s horror movies. I now watch a lot of 60s and 50s horror movies. I watch a lot of World War II movies. Like some that are made in the 1940s, like right literally during World War II. And I'm watching World War II movies and stuff, old westerns and stuff. I've been getting into a lot of that, man. I've been watching a lot of black and white films. And I've seen Warriors 1979. Absolutely. That's a classic. I wish they would have made a part 2 to that, but it's not gonna be the same if they do. Like, nah. It's just some movies are better left not made as sequels. You know. I heard they're making a just got done watching it. Oh yeah, that's a good one, man. That's a good one. I can't wait for 28 years later to come out. That's supposed to come out. What is it? This year or next year? But yeah, 28 years later, supposed to be. I was like, man, they should have came out with that movie like 10, 15 years ago, man. It's just not going to be the same with different actors and stuff. But, next year? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, next year, most likely. Oh, God, my fucking feet are killing me, man. All right, well, I'm gonna head to sleep, man. So I'm gonna holler at y'all tomorrow. It was good talk, man. Oh, June 20th, 2025. All right, I'll check it out then. All right, Matthew Cano, I'll see you.